Coach Cal has created 7 businesses and has been a successful entrepreneur for more than 30 years. His businesses have varied in the industry from VIP transportation management to residential and commercial real estate investment to foreign exchange and global trading. However, all of these experience has led to his passion for helping people find their kingdom genius. Cal has a Master of Arts and Business degree from Webster University. He newly moved to Jacksonville, Florida with his wife of 41 years and is the proud father of 3 daughters. So be ready, Rethreaded listeners. This is a good one. We are going to dive deep, deep, deep in what it means to live your purpose out into the world. Listeners, you are in for a treat today. So welcome to the Rethreading Lives podcast, where we talk about how to take the things in our life, the hard things, the good things, and rethread them so that we can reach our potential, that we can hold all that life has to offer with love and make an impact on the world. And I am excited to introduce today Calvin Thompson, aka Coach Cal. We first met because we sat next to each other at a Life Work Leadership luncheon. There was Kevin, the city council member, was speaking, and we struck up a conversation. And as soon as he started talking about what you do for a living, he runs a coaching company called Kingdom Genius. When you introduced yourself, that's what it was. And you talked about Kingdom Genius and what you do and purpose and all this stuff. And I was like, oh, we're going to be friends. He's going to be on and I think that day I was like, you need to come be on the Rethreading Lives podcast. So I'm so excited. Well, I'm also so excited to get to know you more today and learn more about you and this process. And as I was reading your website, I was just like, there's so much overlap of what you do and what we do. And I think that is how God works. I think that the rethreaded process is like a universal truth that God creates, and we're just putting our words to it.
Yes.
About how God heals us and grows us. So maybe you can start and tell us a little bit about yourself, like personally, and then you're about your business, about Kingdom Genius.
Absolutely. Love to. I don't know if you remember the very first thing that I said to you when I was introducing myself, but I said to you that you were a genius. You remember that?
Yes.
Yes. And I told you that we'd never met before, but how I know you are a genius is because you were created in the image and in the likeness of God. And everybody is a genius because you're gifted, empowered, noble, intelligent, unique, and smart. That's the way God rolls. He makes everybody a genius. And so I have been married for 41 years. I have 3 lovely daughters. I have lived in St. Louis for 61 years.
Really?
Yes.
They have the good custard.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Ted Drews.
A lot of my friends live there, so I've spent some time there. Yeah.
Absolutely. And so my wife and I moved in November 2nd, we moved to Jacksonville last year.
Oh, man.
April of last year is when we first, just rented a place until we find out exactly where we want to be. But man, I am living my best life right now.
Really?
Absolutely. Love Jacksonville. And it is just a fantastic place. So we're getting used to everything and all of that, but it's just good times in being here.
Take it. I love our city. Just real quick, where are your daughters now?
All 3 are still in St. Louis.
Okay.
They said, we're not following you right now.
Okay.
So, they're grown, doing their own thing.
Mm-hmm.
But man, I am just excited about what God has in the future for them. I know one day they're going to come.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But right
now.
Are
they married? Do you have grandbabies?
I have no grandchildren.
Not yet.
No, oldest one is 31.
Okay.
And the youngest is 25.
Okay.
So
sometime.
So we got plenty of time for that.
Okay. I don't have any children. I haven't been married, but I'm an aunt. I'm a really good aunt.
Yes.
And my plan, we'll see what God says, is I want to meet a man who has children.
Yes.
And then I just get to jump right into the grandma role.
Wow. Now that is really good. And I've never heard anyone say that before.
This is my goal.
Great.
Yeah. So we'll see.
Yes.
Well, there's goals.
Absolutely. And it's your desire.
It's my desire.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because I don't have mom skills. I mean, I have aunt skills. I watch moms and I'm like, it's a whole different skill set. It's the mom skill set.
Absolutely.
I'm the aunt. You send your kids to me. We will have so much fun. We will laugh. We'll do crazy things. We'll have fun. But I'm not the best, discipline and structure and all those things. No.
Yes.
I'm the aunt. That means I'll make a great grandparent.
Oh, absolutely. But I also want to say, though, that there are some things, some gifts, some talents, abilities, and gifts that you have that are innate. And we're going to talk about some of those things today.
Okay.
There, you know that with a seed, everything is compacted. And so therefore, there are some things that you don't even know about yourself. And certainly I don't know about myself. But the more we use what God has for us, the more things come out.
Awesome. Well, then let's talk about what you're doing now. Let's talk about Kingdom Genius. How did it come about? What does it do? And let's dive in.
Absolutely. Well, I am a spiritual intelligence coach. I empower people to unleash their spiritual intelligence, to unlock. I help them to unlock what it is that they want to become, their full potential, and then to understand the frameworks that are necessary to awaken the sleeping giant that is within them. So they unleash, they unlock, and then they understand their spiritual intelligence and their full potential, and then this sleeping giant that we all have within us because we were all created to do so much more.
How did you come up with this process?
This has been a lifelong process. As you know, we all have this roadmap and this journey that we go on. But I would like to say that as a child, I was the only one in my family of 6 siblings, my mom and dad. I was the only one that didn't have any musical abilities, period. So my sister at the age of 6 could sing like an angel. I saw both of my brothers receive their gift of being able to play music by ear. I'm telling you, it came from heaven. And we used to stay next door to the church, and people used to come to the church and wait in our house until the church would open. And one day, my brothers were acting like they were playing music at the piano at the end of a couch, just, moving their fingers like they were playing. And this gentleman said, "Wow, you all look like you know what you're doing." He said, "I'm going to bring this little small organ over when I come back on Thursday, and I want to see if you all know what you're doing." And wouldn't you know it, they pulled out immediately, "Mary Had a Little Lamb," just right out of their head. And so I thought that would be wonderful to do. So I was waiting for it to come to me. It never did. My sister could sing. Both of my sisters could sing. And I was the only one at that time. And my little brother wasn't born yet, but I was the only one that didn't get any musical ability, period. And that made me feel terrible, of course. And I just felt like God just said, "I don't have anything for you." That's how I felt. And I know a lot of people feel that way. They just feel like, they were the one that was overlooked. And that's the way it appeared. But boy, was I wrong. I was very much so wrong. And it didn't happen till years later. But all the time before that, I was always trying to mimic them. I was always trying to copy off of their gifts. And one day they called me up to sing at church. Well, they said, everybody else can sing. So they called me up to the microphone to sing. And as soon as I opened my mouth, the whole church went on the floor laughing.
Oh, gosh.
Scarred me good. Scarred me really good. I mean, they couldn't help it. I would laugh if I'd. And so it was just, all my friends, everybody just on the floor laughing. And so I just said, hey, my gift is not in the church. So let me try to do something else. And that's the way that happened.
And that's when business entrepreneurship.
At the age of 13, my parents have never bought me another pair of socks or shoes or shirt or anything because I had my own clientele going up and down the street, cutting grass, shoveling snow, and taking out people's trash. And so that was it for me. I found something that I was good at. I didn't need any help in doing or anything like that. And it worked out very well for me since the age of 13.
Love it. So maybe we can just start with the general question, right? Like,
Okay.
What is purpose? In your definition, what is purpose? We should compare definitions and see where the overlap is.
Oh,
how we talk about it. Yeah.
Wow, that's wonderful. Well, something else I need to let you know is that I am what my sister called an acronymist.
You are. When I was looking at all your worksheets, I was like, yep, there's another acronym. There's another acronym. Yep. There we go.
I used to apologize for the acronyms, but I don't apologize anymore. It is a God-given gift. And I think when I was in the 5th grade, they asked us to remember what the 5 Great Lakes were.
Mm-hmm.
And so they said, we're going to give you this acronym so that you can remember. The acronym was HOMES, HOMES, for Lake Huron, Lake Ontario, Lake Michigan, Lake Erie, and Lake Superior. I have never forgotten that. It has had a lasting effect upon me. So when it comes to purpose is about being predetermined. That's what the P stands for. It's about predetermined. The U.
What does predetermined mean?
Predetermined means that the creator of the universe has something specific for you to carry out on earth. And he put it inside of your DNA. It's predetermined. You've got to locate it. He put it in a place that you could find it. He put it inside of you. It's not on the outside. The U stands for useful. What he predetermined for you to do, this world needs. It's useful. The R is because you are royalty. A lot of people don't feel like that they're royalty. They haven't been treated like, they're from a royal family. But we're going to talk about that a little bit later. The other P is because of potential. Your potential is awesome. The O is because you are an original. The S is because of your source. Your source is the creator. So when I'm talking about your potential is determined by your source. And since the creator God is unlimited, that makes us unlimited. The E is because of expectation. There's a certain expectation that God has for you because he knows what he put inside of you. And so what we ask people to do in determining purpose is to find the intersection between what you're passionate about, and that comes at the intersection of what you're really proficient at. So when purpose meets proficiency, I got that from my mentor, Myron Golden, where
when your purpose meets efficiency.
Proficiency, what you're really proficient at.
Yeah.
You have a talent like nobody else has, specific to you. And that's what you have to find out. And a lot of people, they don't know what that is. That's one of the things that we help them to discover.
Yeah, a lot of people, well, I have lots of thoughts going on in my head, but we've been defining purpose as, the act of love, how you specifically bring love into the world. Yeah. Like you are uniquely created to bring love in this way. And it is not dependent on the roles around you. Your purpose is not to be a mom or to be a CEO or to be an aunt. You bring your purpose into your roles, and your value is not found in your roles. It's deeply embedded in, how you're created.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So there's a difference between your creation and your formation. So we were created in the image and in the likeness of God. Our formation happens when we're born. It's our mindset, that happens with your environment and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And your body, that's just a container that holds your spirit. I believe that everyone, you are a spirit, you have a soul, and you live in a body. But the only part of you that was created in the image and the likeness of God is your spirit. And your spirit is what he put inside of you. And when someone accepts God as their Father and Jesus as their Savior, what happens is your spirit comes alive. And that's your true identity. Your true identity is your spirit, not what school you went to, not what family you came in from, or any of that. And if you attempt to find your purpose and your identity in that, that's why there's an identity crisis today.
Yeah, because we talk a little bit about this Rethreaded, though, because nothing can take your purpose, right? Like it's innately in you. So
Yes.
Even women who've experienced human trafficking, reduced their purpose to the world, became a commodity. It did not change your God-given purpose. And like, it's beyond sex, race. I mean, all of that. If the spirit is what God gave you, and it's doesn't have to do with your body, it's just a vessel. And I also see how when you focus on that, I mean, it's so easy, right, to get focused on the vessel and the outward, but when you hone in to connecting to your purpose, and there's power there when you are pouring into that.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
So God wanted to come on the inside of us. And so what he did was the name Emmanuel. It's great that we're talking about this at this time, because this is Resurrection Week, right? And so he wanted to be inside of us. So he put his spirit in us. That's our best self, not our flesh, not the container. He is inside of us. Jesus said that the kingdom is inside of you. That's what makes the difference. And if you will let your identify with your best self being your spirit, the part of your divinity that's within your humanity, that's what the difference is. That's why I know exactly what I'm supposed to do. That's why I don't get it confused at all. I know who I am. I know what I'm supposed to do, and I know why I am here. And when I found out about your community, I was immediately taken back, because what you are doing in helping people to become rethreaded, I just said immediately, I have got to know you, because anyone who has found their community and making a major change in other people's lives, I just want to be there to see how I can help in any way.
There's some good stuff happening.
Yes.
Not easy stuff. Well, that's what I think we can lead into this, like, to a couple different ways. But the first thing we talk about in the Rethreaded process, how blame and shame, so we all have a sphere of potential, and blame and shame come and they shrink our potential. And we call it BS. So BS tries to steal your purpose. So how do you see people? So blame and shame. So when I think of that in relation to purpose and how shame enters into my life in this area, like I think that sometimes the lies I tell myself are you need to be different. You need to be better. You need to be more like that person. You need to be, and there's all these blame and shame around my purpose. So it's like I guess it's comparing, comparing doesn't let me live out my purpose and find it and like grab onto it and pour power into it.
Absolutely. Remember, I told you I was trying to copy
Yes.
and trying to mimic,
Yes.
trying to borrow my brothers and sisters' gifts. That's because I didn't understand that I am unique and I don't have to borrow or mimic anyone else ever again. Because if I do, I'm going to feel inadequate. I'm going to have these negative emotions because I'll never measure up. But once you understand that you are perfectly accepted by God, you never, ever have to do that again.
Because you are on purpose.
Oh, man, I am on purpose. It's predetermined. All I've got to do is to be me. I don't get judged in any way for trying to be someone else. I am only judged for being me, and I want to bring the best me out of myself. That's what I want to do. And so these negative emotions, they create these feelings of inadequacy.
Yeah. And I mean, what they've been doing a lot of studies on now is the imposter syndrome.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. If anyone really knew me, then
absolutely.
they would be like, well,
absolutely. But self-doubt and actually, it's all comes down to an identity crisis. That's really what's going on. And it happened from the Garden of Eden all the way throughout the Bible, all the way through Scripture, people not knowing who they were. The enemy told Eve that the reason why God doesn't want you to eat the fruit is because he knows you're going to be like him. Well, what Eve could have said if she knew better, I'm already like him. I'm already created in his image and in his likeness. I don't need to try to be more like him. I am perfectly made and wonderfully made already. So we've got to get people comfortable in discovering their true identity.
So I'm a treasure hunter.
Okay.
I love what I love to do outside is I love to go to like garage sales and thrift stores and like find the treasures out of things. And I'm like that with people, Right. And it's like it's something. Okay. Let me get my thoughts together. Our purpose is innately given to us. It's there. God gave it to us to find. And then it's like blame and shame, insecurity come and almost blanket it, make us blind to it. Mm-hmm. How do you help people walk through that to get to their purpose, to start living?
There's a scripture in the Bible that says that we have this treasure in our earthen vessels. So just like you like to go to the different places to find these deals and just find great things, wow, man, there is so much on the inside of us that we need to get to know ourselves so much better and to do what I call self-discovery. So we have an entire process that takes you through to look in all these places on the inside of you so that just asking very deep questions. And I thought I brought some of those questions with me today. But one question I would have for you without even looking at this is, what would you do if you knew you couldn't fail and everybody else said, that's a mistake? What would you do if you knew you couldn't fail, money was not an issue, but everybody else is saying, I don't think you should do that?
It's called Rethreaded.
Yes.
No, that's a great question. So, and do you put in because I've heard the question, what could you do if you didn't fail? But why do you add that part that says, and everyone else thought it was a mistake?
Because there are so many people in the scriptures and in life that they got the thumbs down. Don't do that. That's a mistake. So let me give you one of the best examples is Noah. It had never rained before.
He'd be crazy. When you look at him, you're like,
he's building something. Nobody, period, knows anything about rain. And he builds this for 120 years. And he had to build it to certain specs that God had given him. So it's not about what would you just do if you knew you couldn't fail, but what about when all the naysayers are saying, this is a mistake. I mean, I think about Fred Smith, who did Federal Express. Mm-hmm. He got a C on that paper. I mean, but look at it now. I mean, you won't always get the accolades from people, but it's knowing on the inside of you that this is what I'm supposed to do. I mean, it's innate. It's inherent. It is something that you have to do.
And I wonder, because sometimes I feel like people will equate purpose to something really big. Like they have to do something like quit their job and do Rethreaded. I mean, like something like Rethreaded. But I feel like your purpose is in some ways smaller than that, like smaller than that and bigger than that, because it's the way that you live out the small things in your life, right? I mean, it sometimes is not a dramatic thing. It's like, this is who I am, and I'm just going to live my life like this.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And when we are living our life in a way that pleases God and where you're serving your fellow man and you're making a difference, whether it's one person at a time, that's how you know. And you're passionate about it. You don't care what other people are saying. You know what I'm saying? You are just passionate about what it is that you're doing.
So what is your purpose?
My purpose is to empower people to unleash their spiritual intelligence, to unlock what's on the inside of them, their full potential. You realize how many people are taking to their grave what it is that God gave them to do. Mm. I am here to stop that flood of people from doing that, just by telling them how much they're needed, how much they are wanted, and how much, I mean, God put them here for a reason. So let me just jump back to potential for a minute and give you another acronym for potential. Potential is about the possibilities. The P is about possibilities. The O is about the opportunities. The T is about the treasure that you talked about, right? The E is because they're essential. The N is because they are needed. The other T is because they have talent. The I is because it is so very important that, let me see, what was the I for? The I is because it's that talent is inherent. It's on the inside of them. The A is because it's actuality. It's actuality. It's actually the way that it is, even though it doesn't appear that way. And the L is because it's latent. It might be dormant right now. Nobody can see it. And so everybody has this potential. And if we will stop looking at ourselves like we don't measure up, and you're blaming it, and you're going through the blame and the shame, it is so unnecessary. So I want to equip people. And one of the things that I do by waking up every morning, one of the things that I was hoping we would be able to do here, putting you on the spot a little bit. But when I think about who God is, since I'm made in his image and in his likeness, I decided I wanted to do something that's going to make God famous. So from my life. So what I wanted to do was I said, I want to take I want everyone to take the letters in their name and to think about an attribute or a characteristic of God.
That is in my name.
That is from each letter in your name. For instance, I am Calvin. I am courageous. I am authentic. I am legitimate. I am valuable. I am invincible. And I am noble. Mm. My last name is Thompson. I am a thought leader. I am honorable. I am opportunity. I am a masterpiece. I am possibilities. I am solutions. I am an owner. And I am nice. Now, suppose you told yourself that every day. Those acronyms is who God is. God made me in his image and in his likeness. Jesus prayed and he said that I and my Father are one. When you really realize that God is inside of you and that you all are one, you no longer have all the weight and the burden of trying to perform. All you have to do is find your divinity within your humanity and then copy him, mimic him, take on his values, take on his morals, be like him. So therefore, if I wake up every day, imagine that you told yourself that every day from the time that you could talk. And every day, just like saying your name, you went over the attributes and the characteristics of God using your own name. So I thought we would do that today.
Okay. This is harder than I...
No, this is easy.
Harder than I... It to me, it reveals... It's very revealing because of the way that I talk to myself. Yeah.
Self-talk, right?
Yeah.
Yes. That's one of the things I want to change. I want to help people to change their self-talk because, and so therefore, I may be up to 1,500 of these acronyms so far, but I'll have thousands of them, right? And I want people to change the way that they see themselves.
Yeah.
So I have to start off your name. Okay. I just do. Your name starts with a K.
K.
And I know that you're kind. Yes, I know that you're kind. Don't base it upon your formation. Base it upon your creation, right?
The kindness.
You're made in the image and in the likeness of God. I
see how that that differentiation.
Oh,
yeah.
Trust me. I don't hope you don't mind, but let me give you the second one. You have integrity. Yes, you do. Talking about the God part of you. Remember, your spirit, soul, and body. God is kind. God is integrity. I'm going to let you do the R.
Radical.
So would I say that God is radical? His love is radical.
Yeah. And he does things differently.
Yes, he does. And
in God's way.
Yes.
Radically different than what we would think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That's great.
K-R-I-S.
S. Let's think about this S. I mean, the S.
My first thing is sassy, but I don't know God is sassy.
Right. We want to stay away from the formation and we want to go to the creation. And
you know what I have in my head for this? Is sunshine.
Oh, there you go. Oh,
sunshine.
Absolutely.
Right. light.
Absolutely. There you go. Sunshine for sure.
Better write all this down, Cal.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we know that you're kind. We know that you are a person of integrity. We know that you're radical. And we know that you're sunshine. Mm. And we know that you are a thought leader. We know that.
I know, but I'm not on time. So I don't have to put that.
You are a thought leader. This
is my self-talk.
Right.
Thought leader. Kristi. I mean, sometimes I feel like I'm innovative without even trying.
There you go.
I just be.
Innovative. Absolutely. In. I don't want you to think too long because you are now. Mm. You are now. We could have went with now. We could have went with necessary. We could have went with needed. All of those things. I want you to tell yourself that. But this time, before we do your last name, what I want you to do is I want you to add 2 words in front of each of those words. And it is God's name. His name is I am. So now I want you to say that. Say I am, and then say each one of those before. Okay.
I am kind. I am integrity. I am radical. I am sunshine. I am a thought leader. I am innovative. I am now.
This is not who you're going to be. This is not who you are becoming. This is who you are right now. Why? Because God lives inside of you. When He is inside of you, He is right now. You got to remember, He's eternal. And when He created you, that's how He created you, using those particular words, because that's who He is.
I was listening to this. My friend sent it to me. It's actually this comedian who is normally is kind of an idiot.
Okay.
Hilarious. He's a funny guy. Mm-hmm. But he was talking to this man who, I don't know who he was. It's just a clip. And he was talking about whatever. There's 100 billion people that have existed in the world. Mm-hmm. And so what scientists did was that they took DNA and all the different configurations of DNA and configured how many combinations there could be. Mm-hmm. And I thought this man was going to say, so somewhere in the world, there's a person with your same DNA. Mm-hmm. And his point was that there has still not been a copy of your DNA in history of time. That's how unique you are in this world and on purpose.
Isn't that something?
That's something.
No, that's saying something.
Yeah.
And that tells you, there's a scripture in the Bible that talks about the fact that you are God's masterpiece. It's only one of those. You are His masterpiece. And so that's why I want you to really never feel this imposter syndrome, because you are created in His image and in His likeness.
So how do you move from comparison to confidence?
That's a very good question. From comparison to confidence. What happens is the more you discover who you are and you discover the uniqueness of your particular talents, abilities, and gifts, how God tagged you. He tagged you with those things. And you recognize that everything that I ever will need has already been provided for me. For instance, I tell myself all the time, I am not trying to get rich. There's no need for me to try to get rich. I am already rich. I no longer have any competition because nobody can do what I can do the way I can do it. I mean, I actually am resting in the fact that God made me with a unique set of DNA, downloaded noble authority. That's another acronym, by the way. Downloaded noble authority. Nobody else has this but me. Nobody has yours but you. That's what the difference is.
So I've been finding lately, like I'm 47.
Okay.
Um,
I never would have guessed that, by the way.
And sometimes I feel like now that I'm getting older, I can look back on my life and I can like clearly see from a young age, my gifting inside me. And the other part where I don't want to say that I'm not gifted, but like I feel like my purpose is to activate and to envision and activate the potential inside people. That's probably why we have similar.
Absolutely.
We're both entrepreneurial.
Yes.
And I could look from a very young age, like me and my friends are the ones that like created art and then try to sell it to our neighbors. I was always cheering for the underdog. I was always, if I'm in something, I am in 1,000%. And I've always lost everything my whole life. I'm not on time. I forget things. And that is my DNA. And for some reason, I let these other things, this scattered brainness and also like take away from this other gift that I have. But I can look back and see, like I was just having this conversation with this person on the phone and she goes, Kristen, you are actually a genius marketer. The way that you have led Rethreaded and you've taken this really hard message and somehow you have allowed it to help transform the city and how you educated people about human trafficking. And she's like, can you teach what you've done? And I had to like pause and think about it because it wasn't on purpose. Does that make sense? Like what I've done with Rethreaded in some ways isn't on purpose. It's kind of because I was just had space to be who I was created to be. So now that I can kind of look back, I'm like, oh, there it is, there it is, there it is, there it is. And I don't know if I wish I would have could see it a long time ago.
You were in class and you didn't even know that you were in school.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, yes.
Exactly.
It's the way that God does things. Yeah. And when we all look back, we can see things. We can see his handiwork. We can see his protection. We can see all of these different things. But I want this to be known right now. You are a genius. You're gifted, empowered, noble, intelligent, unique, and smart. The biggest thing that I want you to be able to do, and I know that would help you the most, is your self-talk. Mm-hmm. You have got to tell your created self has got to tell your formed self who you really are. There is no way that anyone else could pull Rethreaded off the way that you have. You have been uniquely chosen to do this. And so I just really need you to understand that you need to pour life into that. And you need to know that it was on purpose. It was God's purpose for you to be able to do what you have done.
And and I'm processing this. So I'm just going to use Rethreaded as an example. I mean, I had my role in Rethreaded with my gifting, my unique giftings. And then there was people with other invaluable geniuses
Yes.
that were alongside me. So when I can claim my genius, it creates space for other people to live out their genius.
That is exactly, you could not have said that better. But you have, first of all, genius starts by recognizing that I am a genius. That's when your genius starts. And you will always see the genius in other people and not see it in yourself. That's why today, even before we leave, you're going to say that I am a genius. I am gifted, empowered, noble, intelligent, unique, and smart. You're going to mean it when you say it. It's not being an imposter because it's the God in you. You're not saying it because I went to this fancy school or this neighborhood
or because I'm perfect.
Or because you're perfect.
Yes.
None of that.
That's my trap.
That is.
I am not perfect, therefore not a genius. Yes.
Yes. And so that is the thing that I really, really, really need for you to get. It's your self-talk. I mean, you want to know what's on the other side of you becoming your highest and best self? It's understanding this one particular secret that I have. I just said I'm going to leave you with one secret today.
Okay. I feel I already got a couple, so I'm taking notes on this.
Well, this secret, of course, is not, it's another acronym. It's another acronym.
I love this, Cal.
Okay, so let's go. Each one of these starts off by you putting the word self in front of the word that I'm going to have you to write down. The first thing is that you are self-sufficient. That's an S. You are self-sufficient. It's an E next, and the E represents efficacy, self-efficacy.
What does that mean?
Self-efficacy means that you have been given the authority to do it. You have the power to do it. Right? The C represents self-confidence. So we got an SEC. The R represents self-respect. The other E represents esteem. You have self-esteem. The T is for self-talk. And then the S is what you are very good at, and that's self-sacrificing. Does that spell secrets?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And so what I do is I put I am in front of all of those things. I am self-sufficient. I am self-efficacy. I am self-confident. I am self-respect. I am self-esteem. I am self-talk. I am self-sacrificing. Why? Because of the God in me. I don't have to worry about how many times I blew it today. I'm going to keep my eyes on who I really am. It's very important that we get back to looking at God as our best self. It's the fact that He is in me. That's what causes you to be able to make the difference in all of the lives of all the people who have really touched you. That is very important.
And I feel like whether you're a Christian or something else, other religions or spiritual belief in God, like I hear this in other people and how they talk. Like it basically all comes back down to God, right? I mean, It's amazing.
He's the source.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't care what anybody else says. I know that he is my source. I can't do this. Nothing in my life else makes sense without him. So therefore, I'm here to make him famous. And I can't speak for I cannot speak for anybody else, but I know that according to his word, that if I put him first in my life, then I can turn my life around and I can start having and experiencing my best self now. It's a lot of self-reflection.
Yeah. And recently I feel like the truth. So I've been a Christian a long time.
Yes.
And I think my faith, like everything, it evolves. I guess it's like, because it's a relationship, right? And I mean, you're taught in church, you're taught a lot, like God is love. God is steady. God is never changing. God is outside of time. And I think now at the age of like 47, I'm starting to understand why that's important, because in my unsteadiness or my formation, God is like, no question.
Mm-hmm.
God is present. God is love. No matter what the situation is, how hard it is, how dark it is, how impossible it is, God is present. God is love. God is steady. God is with you.
That is absolutely correct. And also, there's a scripture in Galatians 5:22 and 23 that says, but the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, and temperance, right? So here's the deal. Whenever you say that God is love, the acronym that I use for love is limitless, offers, virtues, and enhanced emotions. So I don't just say that God is love, because I'm made in his image and in his likeness.
I am love.
I am love.
And it's like, sometimes I can't explain myself, but that truth allows me to connect. Like, it bridges the gap for me.
Absolutely. It helps you when you're driving down the highway. Let's see what highways you have here. 95, 295, and 16 and all of that. And when somebody flips you off and you can remember, I am love. I mean, they're having a bad day, but I am love. I don't have to respond back the way that they're responding to me.
There's the practical.
That's
almost.
the practical.
Like, so how I avoid life is scroll on my phone.
Mm-hmm.
What is a truth about God that helps me stop scrolling on my phone?
So to pay attention to the priorities, right? Jesus said it this way. Jesus said to seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, the way that his being in right standing with him. And so therefore, things that will take away from who I really am, I want to eliminate those things from my life. So how do I stop doing an activity that I know is detrimental to me in some kind of way, no matter what it is, right? It could be anything, right? The ability, as we said, this is Resurrection Week, the ability to be able to bring something to the cross of Calvary and leave it there. So let me give you an example. I have seen people come into church one way, give their life to Christ, and the very taste of alcohol or cigarettes was taken away from them. Then I have some other people, it took a while for it to happen. But the idea is to be able to bring it to the cross, ask God to take it away from you, and ask him to help you with that. Then what I do is I build a framework around whatever it is that I need the help with to remind myself of who I really am. That's what frameworks are all about. And they're called Kingdom Genius Frameworks. And these frameworks help to remind me of who I am. And when I'm talking about a framework, I'm talking about not only an acronym, but a principle, a picture, and a story that will remind me of who I really am. That's what the difference is for me. It's the soil of my heart. I want my heart to be right before God. And so that's what the difference is to me.
I have been going to, she's a coach. I've been going to see a coach. Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
She's a mindfulness coach. She's been helping me. I mean, I have come so far in the past 4 years in my self-talk. Mm-hmm. It's now, I think once you get aware of it, you're like, oh, and then to like practice working through it and the framework. But she said to me the last time I saw her, she's like, Kristen, you need to find a way to remember who you are and your purpose.
Yes.
How do you remind yourself about who you are?
Right. And so therefore my shameless plug, and I'm not ashamed to do it at all. Suppose there were 50, let's say 31 frameworks that you had every month. They reminded you one per day, and you said those, you learned those different frameworks. What's going to happen is you're going to awaken the sleeping giant within you. Your self-talk, it's measurable. It's something that you can measure. You say, okay, it's how hard I've been on myself. I was at a 10. After 30 days, you say, you know what? It's down to about a 4 now. And as you continue to do it, you start strengthening your inner man to agree with how you were actually. So the creation and the formation, they start to agree. And you're talking about how can two walk together unless they agree. This is another practical part of that. Agreeing with who you are as far as the divinity within you. That's what you really want. And so I want to develop frameworks that people could select to be able to help them to walk out their lives as far as their self-talk is concerned.
Is that what you're working on now?
That is exactly what I'm working on. Yes. It's a book. It is a part of our website. It's a part of our coaching program as well. Self-talk for the entrepreneur, self-talk for whoever you are, self-talk for the auntie. Right.
Yeah. Because I mean, this might be off topic, but entrepreneurs need a special kind of self-talk because you're doing something that most people think you're crazy and they would not do.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And so, to have a certain amount of confidence. I mean, I have it even topically, right? I have all of I'm up to 1,500 of them so far, where you're just talking to yourself. Whether you take it into your prayer closet or whatever you're doing, just all during the day, the pictures on the wall, the whatever, they're reminding you of who you are. And so when something that you, where you would ordinarily be late to a meeting, your self-talk, there's a framework for you to be on time. I mean, because it doesn't really work anymore when you set all the clocks in your house back.
No, because you got your phone.
Right.
Yeah.
That doesn't work anymore, right? But there's something about you being able to change the way that you live. And it's the only way, Kristen, is by what you believe, what you think, and the words that you speak. That is the framework. what you believe, what you think, and the words that you speak. That is how God framed this world. The scripture says that through faith, the worlds were framed by the word of God. He did it by faith. He did it by what he thought, and he did it by the words that were spoken. That's how you change everything.
And I mean, I see this belief, think, words. I mean, I get to watch a lot of women's journeys from the outside at Rethreaded, and you can watch slowly. Most of the time it's slowly over time, they change what they believe. They change what they think, and then their words are different.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, suppose you were able to do that more on purpose. Suppose more than one time a day you were going through the frameworks and saying them more to where it became a part of you. Then that means that you're going to have more rapid growth, because that's how you build everything. The Bible says that by your words, you're justified, and by your words, you're condemned. If I keep calling myself stupid, if I keep calling myself and my children names, then that's what we're going to experience.
So at Rethreaded, we have the 5 aspects of our circle, and community is one of our aspects. And we define that as the people who love you, help you, and then hold you accountable to be who you're created to be. What role does community play in your purpose? Finding your purpose? I don't know. There's many different roles, but what's your initial thought?
My initial thought with the community is I want to surround myself with people who are doing what I'm doing. And in a situation like you have with the ladies, well, suppose there was introduced to them who they actually are. Suppose they could have a different set of thoughts and that their words are different. Doesn't mean that they're going to cut everything out and all of a sudden, you just got all of these people doing everything perfect. That's not the point. The point of it is that they need to get started on a journey of self-talk that is healthy. They need to get on a journey of saying what God has said about themselves. That's what the real difference is. I mean, what people say about me and what God says about me could be 2 totally different things. But what he says, since he created me, then he knows who I am. He knows my down sitting, my uprising. He knows all of my faults, right? The other day I counted my faults and I was at 39, 40, 41. I'm still counting, right? He doesn't hold that against me. Every day, it's the same name. Calvin, you're courageous. You're authentic. You're legitimate. You're valuable. You're invincible. You are noble. Wow, I'm not an imposter. I'm created in his image. This flesh is going to have to line up. It's only the container. My spirit man is the real me. That's what I want to get people to see.
And at Rethreaded, so if someone is living out their genius in community, I've had people be able to speak in my life and call me to the higher purpose. Yeah.
That's it.
Like I got this, I mean, I go through periods of anxiety, and my friend texted me out of the blue, and he's like, he is not done with you yet. You still have stuff to do. And like just my friend texting me that shifted something. I mean, it pointed me back to the source. And oh yeah, that's right.
That's what community does.
Yeah, that's what community does.
That's what, and I'm telling you, I am creating. That's everybody came to earth with the package and has been assigned a community of people that they're supposed to help and touch. That's where we also agree, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I said, the reason why I restarted my Facebook and everything else, restarting all of that coming in the next few months, is because there's a new community that I'm supposed to be able to serve and speak this life over them. So if there's a place that you could go to get the right self-talk and to get you to see your true identity, that's what this is about.
And that is clearly what you're passionate about.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
I would do it for no money at all. And I would do it all day long and I wouldn't get tired. Thank God I get paid.
Yeah.
But that ain't the deal.
Right.
That's not my number one motive. The money is important, but it is not the most important.
No.
So I coach people. I coach people specifically around this, and I want it to be measurable. That's
and how do you measure it?
You measure it by, first of all, we start off by saying, where are you now? You know, then we take it again at 30 days. Where are you now? So that's the way so it's
every
measured.
Month you measure.
Absolutely.
And you're measuring. What are you measuring?
We're measuring all the different levels. We're measuring self-talk. We're measuring confidence. We're measuring identity. We're measuring you in all the different areas and all the different spheres of people who you're touching. We can measure your anxiety level. This is where I am right now with anxiety. Wow. You know, and then you learn about anxiety because anticipation of an expected outcome will give you the confidence to be able to do anything. If I can anticipate that this is going to turn out well for me, it will give me the confidence to do anything. But if I'm anticipating a bad outcome, then you're going to feel a certain way.
It's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Exactly. So we want to get people to anticipate positive outcomes. That's measurable. Because I can ask you, what are you anticipating going well this month? Okay, what's your worst fear for this month? We think they should dissipate. I mean, faith has to open the door. Faith is the answer. When you have confidence that God is coming through for you, it changes everything.
And I feel like there has to be, God is coming through with me in a way that is God's way. A lot of times I've been looking for God to show up in the way that I want God to show up. And really, He is with me. God is love. He has not left me. He is present. I mean, and He, in God's way, I have everything I need. I don't even know if I'm articulating it.
You are indeed. You could not have said it better, as a matter of fact. Recently, we had to sell our home to move in St. Louis, and I was going over the different things, and I was giving God advice on how I wanted it to be done. And so it finally realized to me that when things happened, that we made a lot more money by me just allowing God to be God and me not dictating to Him how I wanted things to happen. I am telling you that it makes all the difference when you can yield to God. Yield meaning you can say yes. You know, and you just don't have to give Him advice. He knows everything. And so it's just so very important. You just could not have said that any better.
Well, I just had a little nugget fall because, like you said, to yield to God, say yes to God, and God is now. So it's saying yes to God now.
Yes. Even when you don't know what the outcome is going to be.
And even if it's an outcome you don't want.
That's exactly correct.
Yes.
That is exactly correct. And so that is getting you on the track that you need to be able to say yes to Him in spite
There's something here because I interview people all the time, and they walk me through their rethreaded process, like what it was. And there is this common theme that I'm finding on people that have resiliency, that have worked through this really hard thing. And I'm finding this amazing yes to God in circumstances that I never want. I mean, the circumstances of rape, death, I mean, the most horrible things. There are people, they say yes to God, not for the circumstance, but for the yes to God and his timelessness and his love and his now. In God is with me.
Yes.
And there is so much power in that.
It is.
And it keeps you, I don't know, I'm just learning so much.
Yeah. It is very important that you say yes to him, because yes is not
yes to him and not you. It's not your circumstance.
That's
though, right?
exactly right. That's exactly
it's yes
correct.
to God, not your circumstance. No one would say, I'm yes to being raped. It's yes to God.
Exactly.
Sorry. I went real deep.
No. That's good, because that's the reality, right?
Mm-hmm.
You meet a lot of ladies who have been taken and all of that. And so God helps us at our worst possible times.
Yeah.
As well as our best possible times. He's the God of all times.
All times, because God is now.
He is now.
He is unable to leave you.
He said he will never leave you.
Yeah.
Neither will he forsake you. And so therefore, it's just really, really important that you realize that when you have given your life to him and you yield on a daily basis, he'll take away those things that hurt you in the past, to the point that you will become a new creation. A new creation.
Mm.
And I can tell you about some very, just tough times, business-wise. We used to have in St. Louis, we had a conference center, a cafe, and a coffee house. It was 3 different businesses under one roof. And I went through a very, very tough time when the market failed in 2005 to 2008, and real estate just went downhill. And how God, not only did he not leave me, but he helped me through that tough time.
How?
The banker came to me and they said, Calvin, man, you've gotten behind on your mortgage.
Oh, it's so scary.
Scary. I had 17 employees.
Oh.
And he said, you've gotten behind on your mortgage. He said, but somebody here likes you. And therefore, we're going to give you an opportunity to catch up and to do whatever. Came back 6 months later and said, Calvin, you're behind again. But somebody here likes you. So what I'm here to tell you is the favor of God shows up for you in very tough times. The Father's authority validates our rights. The Father's authority validates our rights. To as many as received him, to them he gave the power, the authority to become the sons, the daughters of God. So the favor of God, just remember I told you this. Faith and favor is the currency of heaven, and it can get you through anything that you go through in life.
Yeah, because there's 3. Shirley did a podcast with us, and Stephanie shared it on a podcast. Katrina just shared on the podcast that was just released, and all of them, it's 2 survivors of human trafficking. One was when her daughter died when she was in human trafficking from an overdose. And all 3 of them, none of them wish that it would have happened to them.
Yes.
And all of them are also like, I am so thankful for my life now and who I am and my story and my journey. And they
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't change it.
Wow, that's big.
I mean, yeah, I feel like that's a yielding in their spirit.
It makes you the person that you are,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so I would never take away what I went through. It was a part of my making. That's what they're saying.
Yeah.
It was a part.
It was a part of their making.
That's not what I would have signed up for, right? But now that I've been through it, you know, the thing of it is, when some people say that they're going through hell, the important part about going through hell is to keep on going and get out of it, because God has so much more for you. You know, people experiencing this hell on earth. Keep on going. Keep on getting up. That resiliency that you need. Don't stop. Don't give in, because God will see you through any type of hell that you experience.
Because hell cannot take your purpose.
That's right. Hell cannot take your purpose.
Ingrained. It's who you are, and hell cannot take it.
That's exactly correct.
Yeah. Rape can't take it. Human trafficking can't take it. Financial issues can't take it. Other people's words can't take it. Failure can't take it.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Your genius.
It's there.
It's there.
Because he's a genius. He's the genesis of genius. And he is in you. That's why I tell people, you've got to give your life to God. You have to. You should. If you want to make it, and if you want to experience my best self now, give your life to him and allow that he created you to be, not how you were formed, not that experience.
Because I think formed is of the world, and formed is imperfection, and it's trauma, and it's how you were formed.
Yep. It's you know, some people were born into some very bad situations.
Oh yeah.
Very bad. But they were created. See, here's the deal. The Bible talks about this prophet named Jeremiah. And he told Jeremiah, before you were ever born, I knew you. I knew you. I ordained you way before you were born. So in God, we were created. That's the important part to know.
Oh, well, this was good. I just checked the clock and I'm like, oh my gosh, this was amazing. That's why this went by way too fast. So what I'd like to do is I have two questions for you.
Yes.
One, we have people share what we call a full circle moment.
Okay.
So this is when, like, a moment of clarity where, you know, all the hard stuff, all the good stuff kind of come together, and you have a full circle moment where kind of everything makes sense, where you feel strong and healed, connected. Do you have a full circle moment?
Absolutely. One day, my brother invited me to his church to speak, and he was calling me up to the podium. And as he was calling me up to the podium, he said, "This is my brother Cal, and he's a genius." And I had never, ever been called a genius a day in my life. And there's a Southwest Airlines commercial where it says, "You want to get away?" I wanted to just drop through the floor. Full circle moment. 2 weeks later, I was in my hotel room in the Baltimore, Washington, D.C. area, and I was praying. And this is what I heard in my spirit. "Calvin, the reason why you are a genius is because my genes are in you. Turn my life completely around." I no longer had to try to be anything for anybody else or anything. I recognized then more than ever that I was created in the image and the likeness of God. And ever since then, I've been saying that I am gifted, empowered, noble, intelligent, unique, and smart. And everybody who I talk to, I tell them, to get this identity part straight, you need to understand that you are a genius. that's what turned everything around for me.
So in closing,
Yes.
what is your one piece of advice you want to leave us with? Your last word.
My last word would be about identity. My last word would be to look to God as the author and the finisher of your faith, and not look to the world, to circumstances, to anything else about who you really are. Discover the real you, what you can do, why you are here, and all of that. That's what I want people to do. I want people to think about my best self now. It's available to you right now. My best self.
Because God is with you now.
Because God is with you right now, not later, now.
So I don't know about you listeners, but I have a page of notes and
Great.
I feel like a lot of things kind of fell into place. And I just want to encourage you to keep going. And I just speak blessings over you and your genius and your heart and your family and Jacksonville. And thank you. Thank you for saying yes.
Well, thank you for having me. This has been fantastic. Thank you. This is my first podcast.
Woo-hoo.
I didn't know how it was going to go,
You
but
did
I
great.
tell you, I just loved every moment of it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
For those of you who are listening still, thank you. If you could subscribe, get our notifications. If you're watching on YouTube, if you could leave us comments, if you could tell your friends about us, whatever you can do to help us help more people rethread their lives. Thank you so much.